Hallo und herzlich willkommen hier zu unserem Workshop zum Thema globale Frauengesundheit in der Uni Oldenburg in der Alten Aula. Mein Name ist Sarah Stauber, ich bin Medizinstudentin hier an der Uni im 2. Jahr und freue mich heute riesig, Delphine Takwi zu begrüßen, Aktivistin gegen Frauenhandel, gegen FGMC und für Frauenrechte. Sie ist heute extra aus Hamburg angereist und wird uns gleich auch einen kurzen Vortrag und eine Einführung über die Tabus, also von Tabu zu Partnerschaft, beim Ausmaß von FGMC geben. Und ich freue mich riesig und übergebe das Wort an Sie.
Danke. Thank you very much. Ich möchte gerne auf Englisch sprechen, obwohl ich kann auch Deutsch, aber lieber auf Englisch. Und ich freue mich so, jetzt teilzunehmen. I am so excited that I am here today. And it's good to know that so many people, you people are interested in the topic of FGMC. Sometimes we normally think it's a forgotten topic, but over the years, it has been so frequent that so many people are interested in the topic, and you people are one of them. I choose the topic from taboo to partnership. You may be wondering why I choose to talk about from taboo to partnership. When you don't experience something, you are not much interested in the thing. Before, FGMC sounded like it is their thing. It's something for other people. It is not our thing because it is not part of our culture. We don't practice it. We don't know it. But today, if we look in our society, in our communities, where we live, where our children are schooling, we will realize that we have victims of FGMC next to us. Therefore, it is no longer their story. It is also our story. And so long as FGMC is violence against women, then when we stand up to talk about violence against women, then we also have to talk strongly and raise our voices strongly against FGMC. By so doing, the victims are part of us, and we will always treat them, and it's good to treat them as part of us. And when they become part of us, then we will go into a partnership. And we'll realize that FGMC is no longer their story. FGMC is women's story. And that is the more reason I choose the topic from taboo to partnership. And the impact of this FGMC in the lives of migrant women living among us here in Germany. One of the things I would like to emphasize is that whenever we treat this topic FGMC also, we should also consider it as a learning platform for both sides, which means it is a platform where the victim learns from the known victim, and the known victim is also willing to learn from the victim, because no one can tell my story better than me, and no one can feel my story better than my pain better than me. Therefore, FGMC is not something that you go into the library and do research and read it. You may have 4 women coming from the same country, but they have different pains and experiences of FGMC in different years. Therefore, it's not something one research can talk about FGMC from one viewpoint, another research will talk from another viewpoint. Therefore, it is so important to always come in contact with the victims and treat the topic as a learn platform. Sometimes in life, it is also good for us to change our lenses so that we can see better. So the term FGMC is widely used by many stakeholders and countries these days. But we realize, like I said before, that due to migration, we now have FGMC victims among us in schools, workplaces, universities like this. And some of them are even our friends and our neighbors. According to World Health Organization, it is a traditional harmful practice. Why traditional harmful practice? Because it does exist in most villages, and they do carry out these practices without any medical personnel or in a medical environment. They carry it just like grandmother, mother, call a daughter, open the leg, and just carry out this practice. It involves the partial removal of the external female genitalia or other part of the female organs around the vagina, like the labia and stuff. But yeah, I would like us to note that there are different types of the FGMC. So when we talk about FGMC, we shouldn't just generalize it, because you have the type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. Type 1 might be just a little cutting. Type 2 might be the removal of the the clitoris and part of the labia and stuff. So it's very important for us to always think of FGMC focusing on the client, the person sitting in front of us, and to also tackle it from the root itself and discover the type that the client or the patient sitting in front of us has experienced. It is estimated that over 200 million girls, that is from 2021, from World Health Organization report, are victims of FGMC. And every year, estimated 3 million girls are also undergoing this risk, which means even now that we are sitting here and talking about it, some little girls are crying in one part of the world. It is an ongoing thing. It is a never-stop thing, because it has to do with the tradition of a particular people. This practice, most often people might think that it has its roots only in a particular area in the world, like Africa. No, it is all over, like in Asia, South America, the Arabian Peninsula, and due to global migration, it has also landed here in Germany. I've seen women coming to me to tell me, oh, I need to take my child I have problem with my husband because I need to take my child to my country because she needs to be cut. She is not circumcised. And my husband feels that if my daughter is not circumcised, he cannot be seen among the men or recognized among the men as a man because he has a daughter that cannot be circumcised. So the woman is caught between these two worlds. Should I listen to my husband? Because if I say no, it's like disrespect to my husband. 2, it is our tradition. On the other hand, Germany says no. The world says no to it. We stand and raise our voices against FGMC. The woman told me that I have pain. I have experienced it. I don't want my daughter to also experience it. So we realized that even here in Germany, women are still struggling to fight the battle of FGMC and even fight the battles of their daughters too. The common reasons, there are so many reasons, but I just pick a few why people do, or so many countries, cultures, communities still practice FGMC. One of the things I want to highlight also that whenever we deal with clients, we should also learn to ask, how do they call it? What name do they call this curtain? Some women, some affected victims, they don't even know that it's called female genital mutilation, that is FGMC, or female genital curtain. I asked my friends when coming that, how do you call this in your language? One of them said it's called abedi do. I hope I've pronounced it well in their language, which means you might talk to them about female genital mutilation, they don't know. So it's always important to talk to them at the level that they can understand you. What name do you call it? Another colleague says it's called bodo. So they have different names for it. When we approached the topic, we should also approach with the name associated to it according to the victim. So the reason is that it is believed that cutting the clitoris will help control female sexuality. Female sexuality is a big thing in Africa. I will talk about Africa, most especially West Africa, because I come from there. So it also ensures protection until marriage, which means when they cut your clitoris, you won't be flirtatious, you won't be jumping from one boy to another as a young girl. It also upgrades your marital status because no man will want, in some cultures, no man will want to marry a woman who is not circumcised. You know, because when you are not circumcised, you are not like a complete woman. And it is tradition. It is culture. Culture that existed before some of the victims that we see or come in contact with today. It existed before they were born. And it gives some people consider that it gives the women a feeling of belonging. In some cultures, there are some women that, even as big as they are, they will rather go back and say, I want to be circumcised. Why? Because they want to feel belong. They want to feel inclusive in the women's circle. In some women's circle, you can't even talk. When you talk, they'll say, stay there, you are a man, because you are not circumcised. So some women want to feel belong. And there are many other reasons. And the reasons varies from culture to culture, community to community, village to village, as well as country to country. The impact of this FGMC, it's so large in the life of women here in Germany. Most of the women that experience it, they have their migrant stories behind them. They have a lot of stories that accompany their journey to Germany. Some experience forced prostitution, rape, poverty, and many others, including FGMC, which means when you see them in their backpack, they don't carry only FGMC in it. They carry other things. And when they come here, it feels they want to really fight, raise their voice against it. even go back, because when they come here, they learn about it, but they can't go back and stop it, because most of the villages where these women come from is being controlled by men. The men are the lawmakers. How dare you, you little young brat, to come and say we should stop our tradition? Who are you to stand against the tradition? This tradition existed before your grandmother, before your mother, and even before you. How dare you? Is it because you have gone to the white man's country and come back and you want to feel important? So it is a challenge. Though the victims want to stop it, it is a great war in front of them. And to pull down these walls, it is never easy. Women have little or no say when it comes to these decisions making in the countries, in the villages, in their communities. And most often, this FGMC thing has nothing with health, has nothing to do with increasing your marital status. It is a gender-biased thing. It is something that has to do with violence against women. And it also discriminates between the men and the women. Why? Because they practice it, but the women cannot stand and say no. It is even worse when it is your own mother, your own grandmother, that stands there and open your leg to be cut. The person that you think can protect you will tell you, we are making you beautiful for your future husband. Don't cry. Everything gonna be fine. You will understand when the process is over. Why making you beautiful for your future husband? Because when we talk about female sexuality in Africa, the men can sit and discuss it, even when they are drinking. But women cannot sit and talk about female sexuality. Female cannot sit and talk even about their vagina, to the extent that they have different names when it comes to vagina. If you talk about, oh, my vagina and stuff, it's like, one, you are a prostitute. Two, you are seen as you are not well trained, well brought up by your parents. And immediately the next person will tell you, I don't want my daughter to work with this girl because she's just talking about her breast, her vagina, openly like that. So most women, they don't sit and talk about, you don't discuss about your vagina. Even if you ask a woman, oh, there is this shaving cream you can use, she will just say, where? There? She can never say, my vagina. Or if women are even having some issues there, and they are even ashamed to go to the doctor because they don't know that you can go to a doctor. Apart from being pregnant, you can go to a gynecologist and do a consultation of your vagina. It has always a taboo thing. And female sexuality varies from country to country, culture to culture, and has something to do with religious belief as well. In a country like Germany, where people are exposed, some people, women even go to the doctor and do vaginal surgery, Schönheit OP. It is normal to talk about their sexuality or their sexual feelings. But in other parts of the world, it is a taboo topic. You can't even talk as a woman about your body parts, not to talk of your feelings, your reaction during sex, and not to even sit and discuss sex. Most migrant women, like I said, are ashamed to talk about their sexual organs. And in Germany, it is no more a thing of shame because women may go to the doctor to have their breast, operate their breast to make it bigger for beauty's sake, operate other parts of their body, other sexual parts of their body to make it look beautiful. But women in other countries, especially those that they do practice FGMC, they can't do that. They can't even talk about it. And some of them can't even visit a male doctor for consultation. I want to read you a statement from my empowerment workshop from one of the victims. She said, "It is here in Germany I learned that one has to be strong as a woman because you don't have nowhere to go or someone to talk to. You fight the challenges of FGMC and life with your kids alone, with no father, with no mother to help you. Sometimes you are ashamed to tell the doctor." This is a woman who has experienced constant itches, constant vaginal infection due to FGMC. But she is ashamed to go to the doctor. Until when she got in contact with me, I told her, you don't have to. It is your right. It doesn't, and her aim was that she wanted to see just a female doctor, a female gynecologist. I told her that it doesn't matter whether it's a female gynecologist or a male, but if you really want to get a female gynecologist, I can help you look for one. For you have to go and get treated because down there is open due to the curtain and she constantly gets infections. These are women living among us here in Germany, victim of FGMC. Another one said, "I was circumcised as a child of 8 years. It was very painful. My mom and grandmom had to hold me for other women to do the cutting. I cried in vain, but all they told me, was it is tradition and they are making me beautiful for my future husband." Imagine the people who are supposed to protect you. They are the one causing you the pain. Until today, the woman said, "I can never forget this pain. It's still there. The pain is there. Sometimes I even have panic. I panic in the night when I think of this trauma, what I went through. And I ask myself, was my mom and grandmom supposed to protect me or supposed to allow this to be done? I am a victim of FGMC." Another one said, "Although I walk around every day and laugh and people tell me that I am beautiful, no one knows how much pain and hidden scars I have on my body. I would like to just feel like a woman, but I can't because of my hidden scar." Where is the scar? The scar is in between her leg. She wants to have sexual feelings, but she can't. She wants to feel what other women who've not been circumcised feel. She wants to experience orgasm, but she can't. And she really wants to attribute her beauty and feel like a complete, beautiful woman. But she can't because of her hidden scars. As women, we all have our hidden scars. But the most difficult scar is the scar that you can't even show. The scar between your leg. Not the scar that was created because you play as a child, you fell down and you like hit your knee and you have the scar, or you play handball, volleyball, sports and stuff. But the scar caused by other people in the name of tradition, in the name of culture. Another one said, when my sister died in bed next to me from severe bleeding from FGMC, I thought my world had ended. I ran away from my family, afraid I would die like my sister. It was a struggle, with no one to support me. But today, my life is more important to me than dying because of FGMC. This is a young girl, a young woman of about 23. She is a passive victim of FGMC. At this juncture, I want to highlight to you people that there are also passive victims of FGMC, that they have that pain, they feel that pain just like a victim. She heard her sister cry every night beside her. She told me. 3 days long, she was bleeding and crying, and all they could tell her was, everything gonna be fine. It's normal. That's just the process. You overcome it. Only for her to get up next morning, the 4th day, she was dead next to her. The echo, the voice of her crying sister still echo in her ears. The pain, she could not help her sister. Nobody could help her. When it was her turn to be circumcised, she ran away. And when she ran away, she fell in the hands of traffickers. Because traffickers always look for these vulnerable young women with the promise of, you will come to Europe, you will work, you will have good job, you work in a supermarket, you work in a restaurant, you will do babysitting, you work in a school. From a trafficker, she landed here in Europe in forced prostitution, and eventually among us. She is a passive victim. Whether passive or victim, FGMC is a fight, and we must stop it. It is no longer their story. It is our story. It is women's story. It doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter whether we've experienced it or not. It is our story. FGMC and migration equals to poverty. Why do I say so? Because when these women, being a passive victim, you run away, you get into the hands of traffickers, you land here in Germany, they tell you, Menschenhandel is kind as you groomed. They need to send you back to where? To your family, where you will also be circumcised. And at the same time, here we stand up and say no to FGMC. We stand up every 8th of March. We say no to violence against women. Some of these women, they are educated. but they will spend years in asylum camp waiting to be granted asylum. And yet, we sit and say in Germany, Mangel der Arbeitskraft. When I go to asylum camps, I see how young, educated women, they sit there day and night. Some of these women, when they run or when they left their country, some of them even got pregnant through rape, forced prostitution. They are there with a child, a girl child. She can't work. Her certificates are not recognized. Years go by. Her asylum status is not yet granted. 3 years, 4 years, 5 years in an asylum camp. Potential, if you enter Germany at the age of 20 and you spend 5 years in your asylum procedure, you will be 25. If you enter at the age of 30 and you spend 5 years in asylum procedure, you will be 35. And you spend even 7 and 8 years, you will be 38 or 35. And in these 7 and 8 years, we still talk of Mangel der Arbeitskraft in Deutschland. And every 8th of March, we stand Gewalt gegen Frau, Nein to Gewalt gegen Frau und stuff. FGMC is also violence against women. And when these women, they stayed in asylum camp, they can't work. They can't do anything. They are poor. They are isolated. They lived with the mental violence. We create mental violence in them because when they think they can move ahead, their life is in a standstill, in a 10 quadrat room, day and night. They run away from FGMC. They are in our asylum camps. And we have to understand that when we talk about poverty, it's not just poverty because you don't have clothes to wear in winter. No, it is when you don't have access to education, access to job, access to the social system. You are blocked somewhere because you are different from the others. You are a migrant woman. They cost you mental poverty, financial poverty, physical poverty, because sometimes when you spend 8 years in an asylum camp, you just like, I don't have the strength again. Where do I have to start? Years goes by. You get older. Your youthful age diminished. You don't know where to start. So we have to realize and understand that FGMC has a chain reaction. Most of the women in these camps, among us, some of them, they still have poor legal status that even when they go to the Arbeitsamt job office to look for a job, they will tell them, your certificate is not recognized, or they will diminish you. Somebody, a graduate from the university, you will be told, you study biology, here in Germany, it's not recognized. You have to study, there is animal biology, there is human biology, there is whatever got biology. Or your ABI is not recognized in the standard of German level. What do? They go back to cleaning. And when they clean, they are being traumatized. Some of them suffered isolation, depression, victim of violence, job violence, where they pay you more than your colleague who is a German, but you do the same job and receive different salary because you are different from the others. or because your status is not like the status of your colleague, you are victim of all this violence, discrimination, stigmatization, and even racism. FGMC is just the beginning of a chain reaction of mental health and other problems in the lives of the victims. And when these women, they say, you know what, enough is enough. I feel like going back to my country. It's better I go back and embrace the FGMC. It's better I go back and get me cut so that I can be involved, I can feel inclusive in my community. But when they land back in their country, their families look at them as failures. They even reject them. You come with an unwanted baby, a child without a father, a daughter that is not circumcised. How can you talk among your fellow women? You are a disgrace to the family. You cannot lift up your face, you cannot lift up your voice, you cannot stand and talk as a woman. Therefore, they are caught in between. They can't settle in Germany, they can't go back to their country. They belong somewhere. Sometimes even, some of the doctors, they don't even know how to deal with the patient when they appear in front of them. Some of them, once the women, they open their legs and they see the type of FGMC, they're like, the first reaction, we say body language speaks louder than words. Dear medical students, be careful of your body language when you see somebody that is not like you in front of you. It speaks louder because we may not speak the German, but we understand your body language so loud. My advice, be careful. Remember what body language you use when you have a client or a patient in front of you. My big question is, we are used to learning to sit in conferences and to talk and hear the stories of others. It's so interesting to hear, but the question is, after this workshop, after this seminar, what are we taking home? Are we just interested in knowing what is happening in the lives of the victims, of the women? Or how can you and me change the stories of the victim? Be it in our communities, in our workplaces, in our friend circle. We can all do something, but we can also start from somewhere. The time is gone where we just sit and listen to the stories of victims and shake our head and go back and improve our research writing and create names with their story. We can start something. And that thing is when we, first of all, see the victims as partners, sit with them, talk with them, embark with them in order to stop and stand up tall, step out, and raise our voices against FGMC. It can start now and today with you, with you, with you, with you, and with me. Together, we can start something. Thank you very much for listening.
Vielen, vielen Dank dir, Delphine. Das war sehr berührend und ich freue mich riesig auf den Workshop gleich noch mit dir. Und ich bedanke mich auch wieder bei euch allen und bei Ihnen allen fürs Zuhören. Und ja, es geht gleich ja weiter. Aber jetzt erstmal beende ich natürlich erstmal diesen Vortrag und vielen Dank. Und ja, Dankeschön.